Well, the Trump administration continues its push to roll back federal regulations as it considers making some serious changes to the Endangered Species Act to give Western lands back to the people. One America's John Hines has more from Washington.
Signed into law by President Richard Nixon decades ago, the Endangered Species Act went beyond saving animals. It dramatically expanded federal power over Western lands. And now, nearly a half-century later, the chairman of the House Natural Resources Panel is taking aim at this antiquated law.
The Endangered Species Act is one of a lot of bills that were passed in the 60s and 70s with great titles. I mean, who is opposed to clean air and clean water and keeping species from going extinct? The biggest problem with the Endangered Species Act is there were never set any kind of guidelines as to how do you judge whether a species is on the road to recovery. So it's like an ongoing, never-ending litigation process.
And you never really know whether or not you are moving in the right direction because there are no metrics, says Rob Bishop, the chairman of the House Natural Resources Committee, who wants a major do-over of the act.
All this act does is land control. So you say, okay, this is a habitat for that species. You can't do anything with that habitat. And it presents some conundrums that are difficult.
And a good example of that is something known as the sage grouse, which inhabits the sagebrush country of the West, says Bishop.
One of the biggest problems for sage grouse in their leks, when they lay eggs, is being attacked by other endangered birds. So you have an endangered species eating an endangered species, and under the Endangered Species Act, you're supposed to treat all of them equally by controlling land somewhere. It just doesn't make sense.
But if Bishop has his way, that will change, with some help from Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke and the Trump administration, which Bishop says has already begun to ease their regulatory frustrations because they are listening to Westerners.
It is important because, and it goes back to the basic fact that 1/3 of all America is owned by the federal government, but it's almost all in the West. So for us, what the federal government does is life and death situations. And Zinke understands that, and he wants to get that connection between the people who live in those particular areas and the people who make those decisions. And that is so refreshing, and that is truly unique with Secretary Zinke in the Trump administration.
For years, Western states have waged a sort of sagebrush rebellion against what they view as overregulation. Now, after decades, it appears the sagebrush rebellion may be edging towards a victory. John Hines, One America News, Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.